Now people are saying, Dave, you need to adjust this because of inflation. No, stupid, it was never the right amount. It was never intended to be enough. $1,000 is not enough, and by the way, $2,000 is not enough, okay?
If you follow personal financial management content, you probably saw it, especially if you follow Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey defended the $1,000 emergency fund. We know today $1,000 is not enough. On top of that, no surprise, Dave Ramsey called his critics stupid. He admitted it's not enough money. He called critics stupid, and he admitted that it's not enough money. But he said you should do it anyway to prove you're serious. Are you kidding me? In 2026, we have to prove something to Dave Ramsey or anyone else that we're serious about our financial life. And also to do something that doesn't work, that he's been giving as advice for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades is ridiculous. And here's the other thing. What I found in his comments was not motivation. I watched the video so you don't have to. And what I found real time was financial anxiety, real devastation. People who followed the baby steps, who made it to step 7, no debt, paid off their homes, probably cut up their credit cards, and then lost everything in disasters. A mother drowning in $80,000 of medical debt after her husband's brain injury, being told to go back to $1,000. How tone deaf do you have to get as a financial influencer for people to eventually stop paying attention to you at all, Dave Ramsey? He calls it a process. I call it a safety trap. Having coached thousands of clients personally and individually, I'm here to tell you that the baby steps don't work anymore. And there's got to be an alternative in personal finance to following baby steps that fail you. All of a sudden to find yourself in financial crisis, and then you're the asshole because you didn't follow the advice. Today, I'm not just critiquing his philosophy. I'm giving you a smarter path, one that protects your nervous system and your long-term wealth. Welcome back. This is Money Mindset Unfiltered, and today I want to talk to you about the emotional truth behind personal financial management. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, like this video, and share it out to anybody who may also be struggling with the Dave Ramsey philosophy. But having coached for over a decade, what I've realized is that without another voice in this industry telling you to stop budgeting, people will revert to these steps as if they are truth and they are failing people, and I'm going to talk about why. Here's the structure. Save $1,000. Then attack debt with gazelle-like intensity. In his video, Dave Ramsey doubled down on his $1,000. He doubled down. Why? Because he's under attack. Why? Because his truth is not truthing so much anymore. Why? Because it doesn't work. And yet he still argues and even says himself that $1,000 isn't supposed to be enough. It's a commitment test. And if you're worried about inflation, you're missing the point. A commitment test? Really? A commitment test? To prove to who? That you're ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck? That you're ready to prove to Dave Ramsey that you're ready to live a life like no other? Come on, you're missing the point. I have watched so much of his content and other influencers who aspire to be just like him, who berate people and shame people. And often, sadly, people who follow Dave Ramsey's advice end up in worse situations. Let me be clear. Inflation is not a mindset issue. It's a real thing. We've all experienced it since COVID, up and down, businesses alike. Add tariffs on top of it. We're getting crunched all over the place. This has nothing to do with your commitment. It's math. It's math. The average emergency repair today, a major repair, let's go through them. Here we have medical car repairs, $1,000 to $2,000, $1,000 to $3,000, depending on the kind of car that you have. ER visit with deductible, $1,000 to $4,000. Air conditioning goes out. We're ramping up for spring right now, $5,000 to $10,000. And small businesses are getting squeezed on the other side of this too. So guess what? That means that your prices go up too. I work with an HVAC company. Their costs are going up, which means that your costs are going to go up. $1,000 fund in 2026 is not protection. And fuck you, Dave Ramsey, for testing people and testing their commitment. I'm sick of it. It's symbolic. Today, we're breaking down the behavioral argument, the inflation dismissal, the commitment test. Why would anybody ever have to be tested for their commitment? And I'm telling you that your behaviors are not wrong. You are not a horrible or stupid human being because of the choices that you make. And if you're hearing this for the first time, welcome to my channel, because we're having open, honest conversations about what really does transform your relationship with money. And it's not with starting by testing your commitment or proving it to anyone, especially Dave Ramsey. The root of financial healing and safety is not shame. Financial anxiety is not cured by intensity. It's cured by margin. Financial anxiety is not cured by intensity, like going after something like a gazelle. That actually adds to the anxiety. It puts the timer on, it sets a clock, and that's the last thing you need when you're feeling crunched financially. It's not cured by intensity. It's actually cured by margin. And let me explain to you what that means. Ramsey says that your financial problems are behavioral. And actually, what I've watched over the last few years is the Ramsey camp shifting gears to emotions, realizing that they've been attacking people's behaviors and choices for so long, but that the root of financial healing and the root of changing your financial pathway is actually looking at your emotions and your nervous system first. So I'm glad to see that a little bit of those things are turning around, but by and large, him defending a position that he knows doesn't work anymore, I've got to tell you, we have to stop just looking at our behaviors as the problem financially. There is so much more to it. It's there to catch the little stuff, he says. Here's the flaw. You can't separate behavior from biology. You can't separate behavior from identity. You can't separate behavior from emotions. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's not just behavioral. When you live with zero margin, your nervous system goes into survival mode. And the truth is that you've lived with zero margin, paycheck to paycheck, no money in savings. And for a lot of you who may have followed Dave Ramsey's advice, also you cut up all your credit cards and ruled out debt altogether, which leaves you with no safety net. So no margin and no safety net leaves you in a predicament, and it just puts your nervous system and amps up your nervous system tenfold. So you're back in a scarcity and survival conversation. First, we have to calm that down. Chronic financial stress and anxiety elevates cortisol. It reduces executive functioning. When your nervous system is overactive, it shuts down your executive functioning and impairs long-term planning. You go straight into survival, straight into fear, straight into scarcity. And $1,000 in savings is only perpetuating that. It's not testing your commitment. It's giving you false advice that Dave Ramsey himself says no longer works. This is the neuroscience of it, not opinion. This is not just my opinion. After years and years and years of training and supporting my clients in nervous system regulation and also understanding how our brain chemistry and our decisions actually work. I am telling you that Dave Ramsey himself is outing himself by saying, yeah, it's bullshit. So let's stop listening to that kind of advice and stop believing that you're stupid. You're not stupid. There are legitimate reasons why you make the decisions that you make. The very first piece I give to my clients, of advice I give to my clients, is let's slow it down. Let's slow it down. Rather than attacking debt like a gazelle, or what I call debt dumping, rather than debt dumping, let's slow the train down and let's take all of your credit card payments down to the minimum. Okay, let's take all of our credit card payments down to the minimum and let's start stacking cash. And here's why. I read one of the comments in Dave Ramsey's video where someone was stuck at what she called baby step 0, working full time. She can't hit $1,000. She feels ashamed. She feels ashamed because she can't hit $1,000. And Dave Ramsey perpetuates this conversation. His answer, work harder, get a second job. Here's mine. If you're not able to yet save $1,000 while working full time, this is not a discipline issue. It's a margin issue. You've got to stabilize your cash flow. Get a hold of your cash flow first. Okay? Yes, maybe add some temporary income if necessary, but let's frame it as a bridge, not punishment, not as failure, not as stupidity. Okay? Don't yet strip down your life to emotional bare walls to force $50 into savings. Let's look at your cash flow, understand what money's coming in and going out, and set up new systems to win. In this economy, there's no little stuff. A $2,000 emergency wipes what you have saved for $1,000 instantly. And then what? The system didn't fail you because you lack intensity or you lack commitment. It failed because it ignored scale. And to be honest, Dave Ramsey doesn't care. In another story, I read from someone who actually hit baby step 7. Then they lost everything to disaster. A mother with $80,000 in medical debt after her husband's brain injury, $1,200 a month in minimum payments. Ramsey's framework would say, go back to step 1, save $1,000, start over. That advice completely ignores the situation that she's in and also increases financial anxiety. Here's the resolution if you've fallen backwards. Safety first, debt second. If you're in a crisis, cash is oxygen. Take your extra payments down, pay the minimum payments only. Give yourself a minute to breathe before you keep focusing on the fact that you have to get out of debt because Dave Ramsey tells you that it's bad. First, let's build you a real wall of protection. Get back to the basics. Get your expenses down to a minimum, but remember that you still have to eat and spending money isn't bad. Yes, that may delay debt payoff. It may. But no, that doesn't mean that you failed. A rigid system that ignores trauma creates shame loops. You just survived a crisis. This is not financial incompetence. So Dave Ramsey calls the low number a commitment test. He says fear motivates. Fear motivates short term. It is not sustainable. Fear does not motivate. Actually, fear perpetuates more fear and more shame and more financial failure. Fear comes from away from motivation, trying to get out of a situation. This is where we see debt cycles loop over and over and over again, because if you're using fear to motivate yourself in your nervous system, actually what you're doing is you're triggering a response to get out of debt. If your only job or objective is to get out of debt, the motivation is there. Fear is very temporary. It may temporarily create results for you. So then you get out of debt or you pay down some debt, and then your nervous system is on overload. Maybe some of you have found yourselves in functional freeze, where you wake up one day and you are absolutely positively exhausted. Or you've used fear to motivate you to get out of debt. You pay off the debt, and then what happens? Exactly what we're seeing here. Financial catastrophe happens, something else, life starts lifing again. If you only ever have $1,000 in your savings account, you can't rebound that fast. And if you spend all of your time trying to build the muscle of getting out of debt, when you get out of debt, you lose the motivation because you've been using fear to motivate you instead of a healed nervous system. Fear will only perpetuate the cycle over and over again. And I can bet that there are a lot of Dave Ramsey fans who have gotten out of debt only to find themselves back into debt because fear does not motivate long-term. Chronic fear impairs cognition. If you suspect a layoff, for example, which a lot of Americans are going through that right now you just need to stop aggressively paying off your debt and hoard your cash. Ignore the prescribed step. In the U.S., in many U.S. cities, $1,000 covers less than 1 month of rent. In some markets, less than a week. Your emergency fund should match your reality. Build what I call a sleep at night fund. For some of you, $5,000. For others, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Personal finance management must reduce financial anxiety, not manufacture it. That's all Dave Ramsey has done for years, by the way. Manufacture shame, anxiety, and fear so that you keep coming back over and over again, and then he gets to be your hero. But guess what? In this video, your hero lashed out at you. He told you exactly what he thinks. He knows it doesn't work, but he wants to test your commitment. That is not personal financial advice. That is someone who is on a mission for views, ratings, and likes. If your system requires you to stay scared, to stay compliant, that is not discipline. That is dependency. What this comes down to is Dave Ramsey's authority. His model requires submission into a rigid formula. I reject that completely. You are the CEO of your household. And if $1,000 leaves you exposed, increase it. If you need 6 months to build real safety before debt acceleration, do it. This is not rebellion. This is strategic sequencing. Wealth is built from stability. Stability requires margin. Margin in your nervous system and margin in your account. Margin reduces financial anxiety. This is personal finance management rooted in nervous system regulation, not hazing rituals. So here's your challenge today. Look at your savings and ask yourself honestly, does this amount make me feel safe or does it make me feel anxious? If it creates anxiety, adjust. You don't need permission to build more safety. You need some mathing. You need support. You need margin. You need agency. And if this resonates with you, subscribe. We'll keep challenging outdated financial advice and building frameworks that protect your money and your mind. Trust your instincts, build real safety, and I'll see you next time.